What's going on, everyone? So today I'm going to be installing a new sponge filter on one of my aquariums. So I'm currently using two different types of sponge filters, and if you know me, I think 100% of my tanks are solely run on sponge filters. So I'll show you the ones I'm running right now. So here's one of the sponge filters that I'm using in most of my tanks. It's just your standard sponge filter. The way a sponge filter works is there's a sponge, there's a little weight on the bottom so it doesn't float away, and then you plug a air tube into it, and as the tube is blowing air into the center of that filter, it's displacing water. So water wants to rush in there and fill that space. So the water from outside of the sponge gets sucked in where the air is, and then it goes to the air and it's going to follow the air up. So that way you're getting a cycle where you're going to get that water, the dirty water with the fish are in, getting pulled through the sponge. It's going to collect any debris, and it's also going to grow beneficial bacteria, which will break down nitrates, nitrite, and ammonia, which is basically exactly what a filter does, any type of filter. And then to clean it, all you're going to do is take that sponge out, put it in a bucket of dechlorinated water, and you kind of just wring it out, and you're going to get a lot of the waste out of there with keeping all the live bacteria on the sponge. So that's our first type of sponge that I'm using. Over here I have these kind of Dole sponge filters. So it has one on the left and one on the right, and it's the same concept. It looks a little fancier, but all it's doing is blowing air into the middle of that, and those tubes go out, down and out into those sponges, and they have a bunch of holes in them. So as it's displacing the water with air, water gets sucked in through both sponges, and it comes up through that top part, and then you're going to see that bubbling, which almost gives you a current. So that's another one I'm using. In today's video, I just purchased this at the OCA convention. It is a matte filter. I've always liked these, but I always thought they were like the rich sponge filter. I thought they were super expensive. I got this for $10. I think it was $12 initially, and I talked to the guy for a while. I'll post the name real quick. So that's where I got it from. I forgot the name. I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But I'm going to put it in one of these 10-gallon aquariums here. This one, to be specific, I just added my trio of the purple deltas, kind of like the painted purple delta. And guess what? They already had some babies back there. I can see one right above that little dot above the yarn. That's actually a baby. I don't know if it'll move for us. Right there is a fry, and I saw a few of them in there. There's one there, there's one in the back, right? So you can see two right there. So this is gonna go all the way in the back of the aquarium, and that's gonna make this tank look a lot nicer. I've painted these tanks, but if you do something like this from the get-go, that kind of takes that out of the variable where you don't have to paint all the tanks, because you're basically gonna get a black background. It's gonna be really nice for taking pictures of the fish, and it's gonna have a huge surface area. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in there. I need to cut some airline tubing because that's a little bit short. It goes all the way up to the roof, and this runs along the whole wall, and it's run off of one pump back there. I believe we got from Gemco, and I've had this running for a year or two, so I'm overdue. I'm actually gonna have to, I knew this when I did it, I'm gonna have to remove this top tank, which I'll just do a big water change and move those fish out, and I'll probably be selling some of these babies anyways, and then I'll have a pregnant female. She can go to another tank or just temporarily stay in a bucket, and then I'll take that tank off, service the air pump, and put it back on there. I knew I'd have to do it when I did this, but that way I had a little shelf because it's kind of a bump out window, and I can service that and I'll be all done. But these tubes that run down, it's a little bit short. It goes right to the top of the tank. You can see it bubbling there. So I'll recut another piece of tubing, make it longer, and then I'll put this matte filter in there. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I've got my air tube cut. I'm gonna do my best to show you guys how I'm doing this. So here's a tube that's a little bit longer. See, it's blowing air. And then this is the main mechanism here. So just the PVC, there's gonna be a hole on top. So I wanna push this through, and it's gonna have to go down all the way to the bottom. And see, that's too far. right there is perfect. So I want to be right around that length. And you could silicone or something right there. But it's going to go pretty close to the bottom of the tank. And I'm going to pull it up slightly. I might make a little mark here. I'm going to do a piece of tape. So this little piece of painter's tape I have handy will be fine. I'm going to pull that up to the length I want it. Put this here so if it gets pulled out or if it goes any further in, I'll know where my kind of my stopping point is. But I'm going to go ahead and move my little lid I have here. Kind of helps wherever the filter is splashing. It's going to make sure I don't lose a lot of water, keep the humidity in there. But they definitely did just have babies, which is really cool. I just put these guys in there. So I'm going to make sure I can get this filter behind the fry so they're not trapped back there. But these are nice and snug. They'll go to the back of the tank. And whenever you're putting it back there, you're going to make sure there's a gap. Because if it's right up against the wall, it's not going to be able to filter properly. So we're going to go ahead. It's kind of hard to do one arm back there, but let's push it down. Like so. Just like that. I could probably leave a little bit less of a gap, but I'm going to go ahead and put my PVC back there. And then the front of it's got to come through this hole. Right there. And I think we're good to go. So I might have to fill the tank up a little bit more to see it work. So let me just push it down to see if I can get some bubbles going. This is like a lift tube. Let me mess with it for a minute and then I'll show you guys the final results. Alright guys, so we're all ready to go. I actually added a little bit of water to this tank so you can see it's about 1 inch higher. And I got a flashlight on there, but this looks really nice. So I'm gonna test this filter out. I'm not gonna give a big review on this. I do like it, especially compared to this. It looks like some guy's breeding fish in his basement. It looks like some guy's selling fish online. Next level. Just kidding, but it does look a lot nicer. It looks a lot more professional, and it's gonna do a lot better of a job. I won't have to clean filters nearly as often. These clog up a lot, and you can kind of lose fish around them when you're catching things. Something like this, it'd be a lot easier to catch a tank full of fish out of here. Just remove that mop, take a big net through, you could definitely catch everything out, no problem. But so far so good. It's obviously gonna have to start growing more bacteria and getting established. This tank had a lot more fish and I just added a trio. So it's not a big waste load. And that acrylic yarn in there is very established with bacteria. So I'm not worried about them having any problems, but you can see a guppy back there. I don't keep the light on too long because maybe the parents will start seeing the babies. But these guys are looking good. They'll be on my website here shortly. I already have some on the website for sale. Those are the purple deltas, or they'll be called a purple painted in the future, depending on what line they come from. But there you have it. So 3 types of sponge filters. Let me know what your favorite is. Do you like the matte filter, the dull filter, or the standard sponge filter? They all do the same thing. They look a little bit different. Some clog faster than others. Some clean water better than others. So one that clogs faster is actually doing more work, but you have to clean it more, so it's more work for you as well. Versus something that has a lot of porous sponge, where it's not going to get clogged, but it's not going to really polish that water. This, I think, will do both. It's going to catch a lot of debris, has a large surface area to grow a lot more bacteria, and it's going to not clog because there's so much of it. So excited to use these. If you think I should upgrade this entire rack with these 10-gallon matte filters, let me know. I think I might do it. I'm going to run this for maybe a month or so, but just looking back, if these were all black on the back, and I got the lights are off right now, if I had all that going on with lights, I think it looked great, especially for a long tank where you're facing the end. Something like this, I wouldn't like it as much, because what we would see is something on the end with a gap going that way. Still would do a really good job, but it wouldn't look nearly as nice. So those would be the best tanks out of all my tanks to do it on for visual appeal. So let me know what you think. I think I'm going to make the switch in the next month or two after letting this run for a while. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, check out that link. I'm going to post a link on the company I bought that filter from. So if you want to find one of those, you can go ahead and find them there. Or if you just want your standard sponge filter, I'll post that below also. But thanks for watching, guys. Nothing too crazy in this video. I am excited about those filters. We went to the cichlid extravaganza. Sorry, I was drawing a blank. And I bought that there, and I was honestly really excited about setting it up. And it's taken me about a week to do so, but I think it's going to work out really nice. And I'm excited to upgrade this whole rack to those filters, as long as everything goes well, which I'm pretty sure it's going to. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more stuff. I have a fish room update, tank number 10 coming out, and I also have how to ship fish and bag them, get the emails, do the whole process of selling fish online. Those will be 2 new videos coming out shortly. So stay tuned if you want to get updates when that happens. Subscribe below and you guys will know. So thanks again. Stay tuned.